All right. So like this is your first podcast since becoming Ari Worldwide, correct? This is
Yeah.
since the beginning of the Ari Worldwide brand. Thank you so much for coming on. I have just informed my listeners, my viewers, things of that nature, who you are. But I think you can kind of just start. How did you start getting into, or like what kind of came first? Sort of a chicken or the egg thing. Was it cosplay? Was it streaming? What caught you first?
Well, to be honest, I've been gaming ever since I was really small. I've been gaming ever since I was 6 years old. And the first game I played was Pokemon Blue.
Yes.
And I remember when my mom got it for me, she was like, "Shh, don't tell your dad," because my dad was like really strict with games, and he was like, "You can't be a gamer. It's unrealistic. Blah 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 blah
It's
blah."
unrealistic.
It's not a good job prospect, right? So I remember all those times I'd just like be hiding and playing my game.
I'm gonna be a fucking pro, Dad. Like, just, I can imagine you hiding under the stairs like Harry Potter with
Yep.
covers over you with a candle, playing Pokemon Blue. That game banged. Oh, I was a red man. I had red.
Oh, red was good too.
So that
I played Red too.
you started with a Game Boy. Like that was your Nintendo handheld. Like that was your first video game system.
Yes, my own video game system. Originally, my grandfather introduced me to video games first. He had the N64 and he was playing Mario on it. And whenever we would visit him, he'd be playing Mario and I'd be playing, and my dad would just be over to the side, just like, grr, like,
God,
ugh.
this Italian plumber, he's ruining the sensibilities of children. The it's not realistic kills me. I'm just imagining your dad like, streaming doesn't even exist yet. Is in your face like, listen, you'll never make a living with this Italian plumber. So you're playing Pokemon Blue. I imagine you just absolutely like play the that game. Does that influence what you play going forward? Because I notice you like sort of, I guess, JRPGs. That's kind of that's a lot of the stuff you stream. Did that kind of just kick off your tastes in that particular genre of culture?
Yes, like I started to dive more into RPGs and games that were deep, because Pokemon is actually pretty deep if you look into it. Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Like the anime, it's all about friendship and being there for your Pokemon and caring for them and stuff. So I just kind of developed a taste for wholesome kind of games that taught valuable lessons and such.
Right.
So it just took off from there. And then there was more of like a creativity aspect to it as well, because it takes forever for developers to make games to begin with. So being able to deep dive into that kind of environment and really get absorbed into it and just enjoy all the different options you have and everything that you can look at and do, it completely captivated me as well.
Hell yeah. And that actually kind of goes into something else I wasn't going to bring up, but you by trade are sort of like a computer nerd. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, you're coder, programmer, like that. I think we talked about it. You don't necessarily like program games, but you can program that art form, that sort of style. Is something you practice currently, and I guess that's even something else you've got from Pokemon. Seems like you can get a lot from it, like cosplay influence, the love of gaming, and that love of like depth that only a programmer. I guess like you need that brain to be a programmer, if that makes any sense.
Yes, like being a programmer, when you start to learn programming and then you look at the stuff that game developers do and everything, it definitely makes you appreciate every game that comes out. Like, I never talk crap about any games that come out ever. Always keep an open mind.
Not even Cyberpunk? Not even.
I love Cyberpunk.
I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't. But hey, do you know what helped? I'm pretty sure you have a decent PC.
Yeah.
Us console like peasants, it was bad.
Yeah. I built my PC myself around 3 years ago.
Damn.
And I really wanted to make sure it would be able to handle pretty much everything I could throw at it. So it's a budget streamer build that I made.
Oh, what I have is we potatoes seems to be like a theme whenever we have a conversation lately. Well, you want to talk about potatoes? My PC right here.
Oh no.
It's so bad. I can't run. This would have been acceptable in 2012, maybe.
Yeah.
But I make it work for what I make it work for. And that's like all the console people. I really wanted to give Cyberpunk a chance. I believed in it. CD Projekt Red. I loved The Witcher. The Witcher is my favorite game ever besides Metal Gear. And I was like, can't wait for this. Keanu. You can,
I know, Keanu.
like, Keanu, take that freaking shirt off. You better. I'm paying you money. This is an M game. I saw that. And I was like, they better let you romance Keanu. God. And you know, it just, I got to the one mission where you got to like find the dude's body in the fridge by the beach.
Yeah.
And it was just so bad. It was glitching. I was just like, I can't. And I filed to get a refund. I never got it. So I still have it. I could re-download it on my Xbox. But I'm like, no.
They've done quite a few fixes to it.
I've thought about going back. Excuse me. But you know, speaking of Cyberpunk, that was a game that you streamed for a while, and not to hop too far ahead, but I am curious, like when you play a game like Cyberpunk, or where you play like a hot new release like that, that is kind of a way to build your audience. Like, do they stay? Is it a permanent type thing, or?
Yes. So there are people. I actually am able to recall where and when I met pretty much every single person that has come to stream.
Oh, nice.
Some of the most recent people that have joined, one of them joined during Doom Eternal. When Doom Eternal first dropped, he joined, and he's been in the community ever since. And when I was playing Genshin Impact, I had a number of people join during that time period, and I remember pretty much exactly when they joined, and they're still in the community. It's hard to build up a community. It takes a lot of time, but I just try not to focus on it. I try to make sure that we're all having fun, and we're all in a really positive, constructive, and great environment that helps uplift everyone. Like, at the end of the day, our goal is to be there for everyone, motivate people to be their best selves, and to just show that, you know, it's never too late to achieve your dreams, do what you love, just dive in, just do it. You got this. That's
fucking awesome and so wholesome. That's why I hang out. That's why that's why us here at the Ari Worldwide gang have been here since day one. That is awesome though. So like, but going back, you get this wholesome game in Pokemon. I guess you start consuming entertainment that kind of falls in line with that, the wholesome type of content. So when does cosplay kind of come into, like, before you even reach streaming, does the idea of what a cosplay is, going to conventions, does that come first too? Or come before that?
So cosplay, my interest in cosplay happened around middle school. I actually went to my first con in middle school and made my first cosplay. It was of Roxas from Kingdom Hearts, and I actually have the Keyblade, and I made it with my grandfather. It was an activity that we did together because he was a master woodworker, and he showed me how to scale out props and everything and make sure that they have complete symmetry. And it took us a long time to make that prop. And as most people know, Kingdom Hearts is a very wholesome series. It's beautiful series, lots of feels. So that was my first cosplay from that game, and I hung out with friends that were heavily into anime as well. And I remember one of them coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you know, we should go to a con. People do this stuff where they cosplay and they dress up as their favorite characters." And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna dress up as Roxas because I love him.
I love him. He's a handsome fella. They made sure the kingdom. All right, everyone is beautiful in Kingdom Hearts, and I know everyone's really beautiful, but let's be real here. Everyone's a 10 out of 10 in Kingdom Hearts. They're all just knockouts.
Well, when I was small, he was my crush. I don't like him anymore. He's too young.
You've moved on from Roxas.
I've moved on.
I like guys like Simon from Castlevania now.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my main dude. Simon's the fucking man.
Yeah.
So all right, you make your first cosplay. You're playing your first games. When does it all start to come to a head? Like, do you become more of a serious streamer first, more of a serious cosplayer first? What becomes like a main focus first, or do they kind of happen together?
So, after my first con, I actually stopped doing cosplay because I had a group of people come up to me and make fun of me at the con. and it was a really embarrassing experience. So I dropped it, stopped doing it for a while. I was still heavily into gaming, still heavily into anime. Growing up, I got made fun of all the time for these things. Girls would come up to me and they'd be like, "Are you a dude?" Because I was into these things, right? Yeah. Are you a dude? Why don't you like to go shopping? Like every day I would go to school, get bullied, come home, jump on to like Twilight Princess or something and play it like nonstop.
Yeah, it's like, leave me alone. I'm in Hyrule. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's so Twilight Princess is
Leave me
another
alone,
one.
I'm in Hyrule.
That's
I
a
love
banger.
that.
It is, but like that would be a good senior quote. You should have made that your senior quote on the way out.
I should have, but speaking of senior year, actually, the person I went to prom with, we dressed up. He dressed up as Link, and I dressed up as Zelda.
Yeah.
Oh,
are you metal? That's what's up. That's what's up. I was such a dick in high school. I would have made fun of people like that. You know what I mean? Like I was such a douche. Like that could have been me. I wanted to be that in high school. I never was. Like I wanted to be, because I played sports and I still love sports, but the art kids weren't ready to accept me yet until I had left high school. The jocks didn't want me. I was like, all right, well, just do nothing. But
yeah,
fucking
growing up, I was bullied a lot for having those interests, and every time I would come home and cry, my mom was like, "Just be you. Mm-hmm. It'll pay off later. Just do what you love."
It does. Sidebar, being you really does work out, and it does suck for a while. Depending where you are, what your circle's like, it can be harder for other people. But you don't start. I mean, I didn't start feeling like myself until like a year ago. I'm almost 30.
That's okay. It happens at different phases, and for different people.
Yeah, it just took 2 children in in like a world of collapse multiple times. But yeah, the high school version of you is such a prototype, like that early teenage version. But that's where you find yourself. Like you may as a person change, but look at everything that's the same. Like that's where cosplay started. That's where you found Pokemon, and you found, I'm sure, the things like Final Fantasy and things of that nature. The JRPGs and sort of the I guess Eastern art, I didn't really get as much into it. Like I'm just now starting my venture into it. So off air, I'll ask for some recommendations for maybe some games and stuff. You can help guide me, because I did play Kingdom Hearts.
Definitely.
Kingdom Hearts is about as far as my experience has gone.
I mean, that's awesome. Kingdom Hearts is a wonderful series.
I haven't played 3 yet, though. I've barely played 2 because I have my PS2 plugged in, and I have 2, and I keep telling myself I need to finish it, and I just don't.
Yeah, you gotta finish that one. It's so good.
But so, and again, being bullied, the aspect of being a streamer, it's nice. I feel like you can kind of channel all that negative energy, and having these people come and talk to you, you can kind of almost channel it and send it back to them in a positive way, because a lot of those people are probably dealing with similar things.
Are you talking about the people that come into streams?
Chats, yeah, like in streams and chats, and like people who list, like essentially I've noticed being a content creator, because I dealt with bullying too, and when you create content, especially live interactive content, you feel that need to. This is just coming from me. I'm curious if you feel it too. That like you want every person who comes in to be like, oh, feel good and take this with you, and know that this person you're watching, they don't want to bully you and they think you're good. Like that's how I've always thought about it. I'm curious your mindset, or if your past experiences with bullying have just like where it puts your head when you're interacting with streamers or viewers like that.
Oh, I think I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, like essentially you dealt with bullying, you dealt with all this horrible stuff. You have all these people coming to you now. Like you're creating something and people are coming to you. Just, I don't even know what the question is. Just like, what are you thinking when you talk to those people? Like, are you thinking about your experiences? Are you trying to make their life a little more positive?
Well, honestly, I have a lot of people that come to me with their problems quite frequently, and I don't quite understand it, but whenever that does happen, I always try to offer them constructive advice that's going to help them.
Right.
Like something that we have in our community, we have like a venting channel and we encourage people to vent, if they're feeling down and they need someone to talk to. But we also encourage, we aren't professionals, and getting professional help is always something that you should aspire to get. It should be your number one thing if you need that professional help.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, every human being you interact with has had different experiences, and they can't all be applicable to you because every person has gone through different experiences and has their own, ideas on how things should be handled and everything. I mean, even though another person's input could drastically help, it's always good to be mindful and realize, the best sort of help you can get is definitely from a professional. But if you aren't at that stage yet, it is completely okay to get a viewpoint from, someone else you may be close to in a community.
Right. That is good. And I feel some anxiety with that too, because there's a weight that you didn't really ask for, but at the same time you have to accept when you make yourself a public figure. That's kind of what Twitch is. You voluntarily make yourself a public figure. It's almost like a lottery. Like you could have me. I have 68 followers. We're one away from some magic here, guys. Come on.
You're almost there.
Almost there to the nice-a-thon. But the like someone like you who has upwards in the thousands, like there's all these people coming to you with problems. It is nice to be able to interact with them, be like, hey, I hear you, I'm here, and I appreciate you. But at the same time, I would feel like really nervous. I do feel really nervous about that idea of, but you also need to go see a professional. Like I'm not some sort of, you can't put me on a pedestal.
Another really important thing that I like to tell everyone that stops by is you have to take care of yourself and love yourself before you are able to fully care for others. You can't give out of an empty cup. So there are multiple times throughout the week, I always make sure to practice self-love, to do things that bring me to a higher point, because I won't be able to help others to the best of my ability if I'm not constantly showing myself love and keeping myself at a standard that should be kept.
Yeah, those are great thoughts, and I can imagine getting lost in. You need to again love yourself, because when you have this type of art, when you have this type of performance, whether you're again like you who's been a streamer or me who's been a musician, the way people are interacting with you in that medium isn't necessarily representative of how you would deal with someone on the streets. Like they're there for you. They're like, oh, we look up to you, but they also don't know like your everyday struggles, how you are in and out of your life, and you need to kind of look outside. And I say you, I'm talking about myself. It's like talking to no one, but you have to kind of look outside of the people that are already there to adore you and love what you do, and look at yourself and be like, you're good. Look in the mirror and be like, you rock.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to do that a little more. It's hard, but
yeah, it is hard.
Being active helps. You need to like you were saying, practicing self-love isn't always easy. It isn't just like giving yourself a big hug, It's maybe eating better, drinking less, walking more, singing more, stuff like that. That's what I think of.
Yeah, it's also analyzing. I do this thing where I analyze conversations I have with people. Sorry. Sometimes my brain thinks too fast and my mouth can't keep up.
Exactly.
But anyway.
That's what I have. I have the potato wedge sound check to prove that.
But when I'm conversing with others, something that I do is I always make sure that I check myself, that I am consistently checking myself and making sure that I am responding in a respectful and loving way, because everybody can interpret what you're typing differently from person to person. So it's always really important to check yourself and make sure that what you're writing is interpreted in a constructive and positive way.
Right. That's
so
good.
There have been some times where I have apologized to people and I'm like, hey, I meant this in a good way. I just reread it. It could have been interpreted in a bad way, and they're like, wait, what? What are you getting at? I interpreted it in a good way.
Overthinking, man. That's the that's the performer's curse. That is. I think we have it just like that. When you make stuff that you show people, you're always in the back of your head like, I missed that. I forgot that. I didn't do that right. X, Y, or Z. But this is good. I'm actually appreciating where the conversation is taking us here, because we haven't even gotten really out of the formative RE years here. building the RE worldwide empire. We haven't even gotten to the first stream you ever did.
Oh no!
I am curious though. So you mentioned kind of cosplay happen. You're playing video games. When does Twitch, or I don't even know if it's Twitch, but when does the idea of, again, your content creators live streaming, when is this concept introduced to you? Who are the people that you looked up to or influenced by in the beginning? And then let's talk about, like, when did it start? When did you get the gear, sit down, throw on the first cosplay, and play that first game on stream?
So originally, when I was small, I would get sad a lot, like down a lot, and one of the people that I always watched was PewDiePie.
Yeah, we all did, man. We all did.
Like his Amnesia days, like back in the day.
My God. All right, you're an OG too. Yeah, we're both. Yeah. See, we're both YouTube OGs. We've been here. We were here. All right, here. Again, we won't give away ages. You had a MySpace top 8, didn't you? You were.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so that's our gang. All right, that's our gang.
I also really loved Smosh. Growing up, I did a lot of skits with my best friend. She probably still has them all on her camera that we used to do.
Would you have been a scene kid? Were you a scene kid? Were you or were you like the? Because I remember the scene kids and the anime kids. They were different. They were different. They did not like you to compare the two of them. But
I was definitely a nerd. I still hung out. I tried to be kind to everyone and hang out with everybody, but not everybody always liked me.
I fucked with Smosh so much. That Pokemon video.
Yes.
That's when YouTube was good. That's when we were kings. All right, we were kings. We had everything.
The real OGs.
We had everything. YouTube was fun and wholesome. Like, you had Angry Video Game Nerd was about as like filthy as it got. Like, that was the and that was even wholesomely filthy. Like, that was what you had to deal with. Gah, Smosh.
It's so good.
The Sex Ed song, I still jam to that.
Oh.
I Set My Friends on Fire kicks ass. That song legitimately rips. But yes, continue. I could fanboy on Smosh all day.
Me too.
This is just a 2 fanboy podcast now.
But yeah, I watched a lot of PewDiePie. I watched a lot of Smosh. Did funny skits growing up with my friend all the time. I never really considered doing streaming or making content until much later on. I want to say until I was 25 or 24. Yeah, I was kind of late. Yeah, because growing up, I always had that pressure of, you need to do something that's going to bring you a steady income that will have job security and stuff. And I was like, okay, I get it. But
the lie, the big fucking lie. Yeah. I know all about that.
But yeah, I ended up starting streaming. It's going to get kind of serious here, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
go for it.
I was in a spot in my life where nothing was making me happy anymore. I was in a really bad relationship with someone. I was hanging around people that made me feel like everything was my fault all the time. And I just started going to college to pursue my degree in CIS, which is a STEM degree. And I was dealing with bullying from guys in my degree. There aren't that many females in my degree, so I was just dealing with a lot. And there were times where I was just so depressed, I would get out of bed and I would just fall all the time. I'd come home and I'd have just cuts all over my knees. It was just really, really bad. Like, I had no energy. I was planning to take my life. I had a plan, and it was really hard. I remember telling myself, if I can't find anything to live for within the next month, I'm just gonna disappear. Like, I couldn't handle it anymore. There was just so much toxicity. My home life, there was a lot of toxicity there as well. And one of my friends came to me one time. We were hanging out on Discord when I was really depressed, and I was playing a horror game. And he goes, you're really funny when you're scared. You should do like YouTube or Twitch or something.
That's such a
like, really?
strange comment. A compliment. You're real funny when you're terrified.
Yeah, so I was like, what? He goes, yeah, you're actually quite funny. You should try it. And I'm like, okay, I had really bad social anxiety. I was just a mess. So I was like, okay, he gifted me my first mic, which I still have today. It's the Blue Snowball mic. I have it right here, right next to me.
It's a good
Incredible mic. Yeah, it's lasted
Such a solid
forever.
mic.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Do you still use it? Like, that's the mic you go through now?
Yep. Still using it. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, we can nerd because I am not. I am so serious about my equipment now that I use. I have a nice thing. I'll get into that later on, but that is incredible, especially when you get to the point when you are suicidal and you're at the point where you're making a plan. And again, all right, there's a reason why we're buddies. It's because we both I think have been through similar things. I've been there. When you have a plan and you can really like A, B, C, you have a full sort of after action plan, you're in immediate danger. Like, you are in absolute danger at that moment. Any like the same amount of danger than you could be hanging off of a cliff, or if your car is at the bottom of a ravine. Like, you're in that much danger. So I'm glad you came back from that. That's a horrific place to be. But if it was horror games, if it was the idea of being terrified, like, that's just funny how that works. Like,
it was. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I would just say it's good to feel scared. It makes you feel alive. It's as crazy as it is. It makes you feel alive.
It does. I was about to say, I was just so down that I just wasn't really feeling much anymore, and the horror was making me jump and feel something. Feel alive.
What game was it? Do you remember?
Yes, the first game I actually started on YouTube because I didn't have the internet plan for Twitch. Mm-hmm. Funny enough, I started on YouTube. The first video series I made was called Outlast, the game. Yes.
Ari, you brave little toaster, you. That fuck. I'm a big elephant. I am scared. So I'm a giant. I'm like 6'5", but I'm afraid of like the dark. I'm afraid of like bumps and creaks in the night. And I embarrassed myself in front of my wife playing Outlast. Embarrassed myself. So I respect you so much for being able to play that in front of people.
Yeah, I recorded it and I put it all up on YouTube. I did a lot of editing to it because there were moments where I just would get really anxious and I would have to stop and quit and take a breather because, I was still adjusting to getting used to being in front of a camera, and I was just a really super shy, insecure little bean.
Little potato. Remember, we got to keep the branding on point here. Little potato sprout.
Potato, yeah. But there were times I didn't have a lot of time because I would go to university, I would work at a pizza place, I would do cosplay, and then I would do content creation all at once. So to kind of help practice through the anxiety of doing YouTube, on my commute to school, I would just talk to myself out loud. Like, I would narrate every single thought I had out loud, practice that every single time I went on my commute, and it helped so much. It helped me so much. Like, I still do it to this day.
That's so awesome. No, that's you're doing your own rehearsals just while you're walking around. Like, you're always getting practice in.
Yep.
You're a fucking warrior, all right? You're a streaming warrior. Again, that's OG shit right there. We didn't have, like, feedback. Like, people who are getting into this now have so many, and I hate to be like that old man, like, oh, the kids have, shiny mics now. But, like, we had nothing. We were learning what this was, and being young people just putting ourselves out on the internet there was no filters. Like, there was no protection. Especially this is like 2014, 15, right? I'm imagining 16 possibly, because even then, like, there was so many. Well, there's like a lot less protections in place in terms of what people are allowed to say to you in comments, and just YouTube was a bit of a Wild West land at that point.
Yeah, it was quite wild.
So when did you make the switch over? So you're pretty much doing, excuse me, in a way, kind of like PewDiePie-esque content, right? Like you're recording yourself playing and then chopping it up and then
Yeah.
placing it on YouTube.
Mhm.
That YouTube channel, is that still stand today? That's the one you use?
Yes, I just don't upload to it as frequently anymore since I'm always on Twitch now.
And that's like your main content creation happens on Twitch for the most part.
Yes.
So let's slide right into there. Kind of the meat of our podcast here. How we met. You were kind enough to stop by one of my fucking this pathetic 10, like when I had like 8 or 9 followers. Seriously, it was like that low. You just kind of, I think you slinked by and were like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, what's going on? You seem like a nice guy." Like, I was like, "Yeah." I want to tell a story really quick because it's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
So, in what I do, like, we've talked about this, the opposite of what you've done. You've been able to make a lot of connections online. A lot of your success, it's through mediums and performance through like online mediums. Mine's very physical and in person. So like I'm used to kind of, generating small little fan bases, but it's all like people I can see. They're right in front of me. So I know everyone immediately. I'm like, "Oh, you came to see me at the show." You hit me up and I was like, "Oh, this person's really nice. Maybe I'll reach out to them. Like maybe they're a small time creator like me and we can help each other out." And like I think I even sent you something before looking. I have like 12 followers at this point. And then I'm like, "Okay, blah, 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 blah." I send all this stuff. You send something back. You're so nice. I'm like, "Hell yeah. I'm making professional connections. Look at me." And then I'm like, "Let me go look at her page." And I go, and you have like 2,000 followers, like on your Twitter, like you had like 4 grand. I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm talking to her like she's like me, like she's pulling in 20 or 30 followers. So I thought that was really funny, and I appreciated you reaching out to the little guy there. We need all the help we can get, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I since it's hard. It's hard trying to stream on Twitch. It's it can be a scary place, but the way
what brought you there the first time?
Wait, I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, I guess like if you were getting into it, you can keep going. But like, what brought you to Twitch? Like, you're on YouTube, but like, when did your Twitch journey begin?
So I was on YouTube making videos and editing, and I just, I was talking to people through comments, and I realized I really loved socializing with people about, games and stuff. So I thought maybe I should try out Twitch because you're talking to people as you're playing. And a lot of people were supportive of that. A lot of people in the community were like, "Yes, please switch so we can talk to you, while you're live." And it's actually pretty interesting because there's quite a few people that are still in the community that were commenting on those videos from back then. So they've stuck around like this entire time, and I'm just surprised by it all. Like I didn't think people would want to stick around for little old me.
Look at you retaining your big old fan base. That's awesome. I haven't pulled up your YouTube page yet, and I finally just did.
It's pretty small. It's
holy shit! That thumbnail of you doing the ice bucket thing as Misty is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. I wanted to start doing like little skits on there again because I really enjoy doing skits, but I just haven't had the time with everything that's been going on lately.
I'm sorry, the still, you get the perfect still of your face, just like, "Oh fuck." Let me hit you with a subscribe there. There you go.
Thank you.
So you eventually make the move. So was it a smooth transition? Like, did you notice yourself immediately falling in love with Twitch and kind of leaving YouTube behind? Was it a slow transition? How'd that go about?
Yes. I really love doing Twitch. I had some technical difficulties at first because oh my gosh.
Don't we all? It sucks at first. Yeah. I was terrible at it for like 4 years. I didn't know you needed a wired internet connection. I was trying to fucking stream Half-Life 2 off a shitty laptop and Wi-Fi.
Oh, no.
And it was just like, why won't it work?
Oh no. Yeah, I think the first game that really just changed everything was Monster Hunter World. When that dropped, I started streaming that all the time, and there's quite a few people that are still here from back then, but I remember it was the first Monster Hunter game I streamed, ever played. And I didn't like any of the weapons except for Insect Glaive, and everybody in the community that had played before was like, don't play that weapon if you're new to the game. You can't play that weapon. You won't be able to. It's too hard to play. I was like, okay, I'll show you.
Ari said, y'all can fuck off.
It's like, okay, I'll show you. So I started playing, and I started fighting like Arch-Tempered dragons and stuff, and like being really good at that weapon. And I met some of my mods. They're still mods from back then through that game, and it's been a blast. We all used to play that game together. But I really love playing games that are multiplayer, because there's just, I don't know, it just kind of brings back that vibe from back then. I used to play MMOs a lot, and the guilds were like really close. You're like really close and connected. So Twitch in a way is kind of like that. It's kind of like your own guild, like you're all really close. It's almost like a family in a sense. It's nice.
That's dope. I can't, like, multiplayer games, I'm kind of the exact opposite. I gravitate, I love my single player games. That's daddy's time when I'm sitting down. And like, that's why, like, I have a Metal Gear tattoo. Like, we've kind of talked about it briefly, but like, I like adore the Metal Gear series and things like it. And just, I like to be transported away. If you haven't played it, you don't have a PS4, but if you get one, get Ghost of Tsushima. Fucking so good.
Yeah, I've heard wonderful things about that game.
Yeah, but like, I like to disappear into my own head. Like, I like to not. When I'm playing games, like, I've switched away from that. I do the vlog on Twitch now. I can't. I mean, it's mainly technical issues. I can't play games and stream, but it's just I can't talk. Like, I just love being into the game, and I can never do anything else but be into the game. So I MMOs I was never able to get into. What was, besides World of Warcraft, which I like to play? Like, what was your first MMO?
First MMO was a Korean MMO called Fly for Fun, and I actually still have friends from that game that I talk to. And this game, they actually stop by my stream sometimes. It's pretty cool. But
do you still play?
No, I think it got discontinued. I think they took the servers down. It's so old. It's like 2002.
Oh, gee, like RuneScape. That was that was my first MMO, was RuneScape. I played on the browser. I didn't care about playing the game. I cared about chatting. That was it. I just would go into the most populated places and just talk to as many people as I could. Just like, oh my god, this person's from England, and I'm talking to him here in Maryland. What?
Yeah, that's another thing that's really cool, is just being able to connect with other people from all over the world, getting to know them, just being able to really deep dive and getting to know someone for who they are and like their culture and everything. It's so cool.
You can one-on-one with people, which is crazy. Like, when you go out and travel, or if you're performing, it's a weird, you can't get to know someone because there's already like this you came to see me, and you can't really get past that in one interaction. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how I think, but like, when you put on something, whether it's a stand-up show or a live show or anything of that nature, it's like, they're like, hey, great set, man. You know, like, awesome. But like, I'm going to have 50 people come up and say stuff like that. You know, or if I do stand up, I'm going to have 50 people come up to me and say, hey man, don't ever do that again. It was terrible.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
Stand up is fucking insane. It is.
Oh, no.
It's something I started way later in my life, and you can be as good as you want. Some nights people don't want to laugh. There's no interest in hearing jokes. But that being able to establish connections with people online is something I envy your ability to do that so quickly. I think it's so cool. I think it's why you're able to get to where you are. And did it just come naturally, that ability to essentially make like a little flock that comes to you and watches your content? Did it come with changing up the games that you played? Like, what was the first big gust of wind that really helped build the community? Like, I guess, when could you first say that you had a community? Not just a couple of friends watching, like a community.
I feel it was definitely during Monster Hunter World.
Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, so yeah, that's when every time that you logged in, they were there. Like, there was someone there. You wouldn't have to get halfway through a stream before momentum started. It was just like, boom, Monster Hunter time. There's 10 people waiting for you.
Yeah, there were people there.
That's wonderful. Have any games done the opposite? Have there been any bits of content you've made or things you've created, just anything of that nature that people maybe, whether they reached out and actually said, hey, we don't like this too much, or you noticed it in numbers? Was there anything like that? Has it happened yet? Or
I don't believe so. Usually when I stream, I try not to look at the number of people that are watching, because this is going off topic a little bit, but there's a really serious mental health component that is often overlooked when you stream. Like, everyone's hyping it up, like, oh, you should stream, it's so much fun, it's awesome. Nobody goes into, 1 week, if you're not doing really well, how it affects you and stuff. So generally what I try to do is I try to never ever look at the number of people that are watching, because if I don't look, then it gives me more freedom to express myself and be genuine and not be worried at all about numbers. Because the whole idea behind doing Twitch and everything, like, yes, I would like to become partnered someday. Am I in a rush to hit it? No, if it happens, it happens. I'm more into not worrying about numbers. I'm more so interested in building a community filled with genuine and quality people that care about each other and that are always going to be there for one another and that help uplift each other up. Like, the whole meaning behind Ari is here. I wanted to be here for people. Like, if you're having a terrible day, and everything's going to crap, let's say you're in a terrible spot, you could hop into the Discord. People will be there for you. They'll talk to you, because, when you've just been in such a dark and terrible spot where you don't think you're ever going to climb out from it, you never, ever want anybody to have to go through that themselves. So it's more so, I'm not even concerned about numbers. I'm more so concerned about people. How are they doing? I want to make sure that everyone is okay. I want to make sure they have a safe place to go to. And I want to make sure that we have a community that's always going to be here for another and motivates and pushes people to be their best selves every single day. So that's honestly what I've always been mostly concerned with. I never thought I would get to this point ever. The fact that it even happened is a blessing in itself, and I'm extremely grateful for it. I never thought I would be able to pursue full-time content creation while pursuing a degree also, but it happened. And, there's days where I wake up and I have imposter syndrome, and I'm like, wait, is this a dream? Hold on, let me pinch myself like 5 more times.
Yeah. I'm sure there's days where you also wake up fried, like, I haven't slept, I a couple of times we were talking, I guess when you were finishing up your exams and stuff, and I guess I felt like your brain was about to explode. It's like, I can't look at another screen. Like, I don't want to be Arias here anymore. I want to go back.
No. Twitch has helped. Like, I have never gotten burnt out on streaming. Like, really? I absolutely love to stream.
That's impressive.
Absolutely love it. I've never taken a break in the 3 years that I've done it. I think the key to making sure that you don't get burnt out is learning how to forgive yourself when things go wrong and making sure that you're really balanced in your life. Like, you have other hobbies outside of streaming, and also just making sure that you stick to, your moral integrity. You're sticking to what you believe in and, what you love and what you're passionate about. So
the code. Your own code.
Code.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Ari, that is fucking awesome, and this whole conversation has been awesome and enlightening. Especially you've been such a good sensei to this little fucking rookie here, this little Twitch rookie, ever since my Crunker days, which I do not play that game anymore. That was
why not?
We talked. You mentioned something really wonderful earlier on the show. Quality people, and I don't think we're talking about, oh, we need you to be a certain way. Quality in terms of how you act and how you interact and what you bring. Like, we want nice people who are friends. Crunker didn't necessarily yield a lot of quality people. That's where a lot of the just strange people came from. Crunker bots came from Crunker. Anytime I did a Crunker stream, I'd do really good numbers, but there'd always be an issue. I did a couple of giveaways, which were nice. You won like 2 in a row, which was hilarious. But
I don't know how.
just miracles, you know.
Miracle.
Because no one was watching, you know. Like it's easy to win when no one's watching. But yeah, like it just I had issues with like people trying to cheat on the giveaways and being really weird about it. And I was like, let's just go, let's finish it. So I switched off the mature setting. I turned it back on, excuse me. So I didn't have to worry. And I just, quality. I was like, look, I want to be me. I want to be the version of me that I do on all the other projects I do. And I had to stop. It was time. So the numbers were really nice. It got me to affiliate. Like that's what pushed me over the edge was playing Crunker.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm very appreciative to get, like, I was able to get over the hump, fairly quickly, but then it just was like, all right, I can't stay doing this. I'll be miserable. So I'm glad I was able to find a little niche now that I'm happy to sit in. And it seems like you've carved out this cool little niche. So I want to end here, just the last section here. If you're willing, whatever you're willing to talk about, whether it's crazy stories from your stream, funny, just like it could be anything from wholesome, like we said earlier, wholesome to just awful, however you want to take it. But do you just have anything off the top of your head you'd like to share that like people who maybe aren't streamers wouldn't think could happen to them while they're streaming? Anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is always a possibility for stalkers to find you in real life and go to your job and text you and tell you that they're watching you while you're working your job.
Now this seems very specific. All right. What happened?
It happened at my job.
Oh my God. Did they take a picture of you or anything? That's fucking terrible.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm usually really patient with people and I'm understanding, and it's really hard. It's like really hard to like creep me out or anything. But the way they I meet up with people at cons. Like I tell people all the time, if you want to meet up, we can meet up at a con, stuff like that. And, I'm all for that. We can hang out at the con. We can have a blast. Like, let's do it. And this person messaged me on my Instagram and they were asking, oh, do you do one-on-one meetups? I'm like, no, I do not. And he goes, oh, well, I see you at your job every weekend and I watch you while you're making pizzas and you're so cute. The way your hair flips back and forth.
Oh my fucking God.
It was so scary. I was like, oh no.
That is like you want to hire bodyguards at that point. That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty scary. But
the way he tried to finagle like before, like he said, hey, do you do one-on-one meetups? And you're like, no, absolutely not. He's like, oh, I was just checking because I watch you every day at your pizza job. Like he threw that in afterwards. Like that was his second pitch.
Yeah.
Well, like,
yeah.
but I'm already down there. Like, you could cook me up a pie. We can meet up. That's horrifying. How did you?
Yeah.
Did you have to go about rectifying that in any way, or you just kind of? You're making content. You have to push through things like that and understand it's part of the game sometimes.
I tried to push through it. I told my boss. We tried to get his name. He would not give us his name. So I told him, hey, look, I told my boss that this is happening. If you follow me or anything, I'm going to have to do something about it.
Right.
I'm going to have to, because stalking is not good.
It's a fucking crime. It's horrific.
Yeah, it is. So I just pushed through it, tried to keep going. I had another experience where another male content creator developed feelings for me and was harassing me off of stream and just telling me to quit Twitch and that none of the top streamers are female. You only get viewers because you're a girl, and just like all this. It's just, I don't know.
Go to the front page. Go to the front fucking page of Twitch right now and like tell me how many are at least half are female. Like I don't even want to fucking hear that shit.
Yeah.
I appreciate the toughness of that. I've talked to a couple of friends about that. Really like that ignorance to that feeling, and I joke around like I'm a big, elephant. I'm afraid of, like bugs and mice, and I'm afraid of the dark. But like to be real, I never, unless the person's absolutely mentally unhinged and like doesn't, see what I look like, I don't have to worry about that. I never have that worry in the back of my head. It's never there. And I get very, like, I'll get emotional when people tell me that. I'll get angry because it's like, how could someone, that's taking advantage of someone, I guess, in a sense. Like, that you think, like, oh, I could, because you're not going to stalk someone that, if you had fucking swords for hands, I don't think someone's going to be, regardless of how tall or big you are, if you're Ari sword hands, you're not going to get stalked because the sword hands. But
yeah, I've also had some people come in. I had one person that was just wrote a very terrible comment. One of my mods caught it, thankfully, but I did have to read it after stream because I do filter through all the there are unban requests and stuff. And this guy put I want to, forcefully, yeah. So that was not good. That is just unnerving. And then
disgusting.
It was pretty disgusting. And there's been some other people that come in and they insult how I look mainly, but it doesn't really bother me too much because growing up, I was always insulted for how I looked. It just doesn't bother me. I get my confidence from who I am as a person, how I treat people, how I elevate others, and just what I do through my craft and what I, when I learn, that's how I build my confidence. So when people come in and just insult me and call me names, it doesn't really bother me at all, thankfully.
Right. And none of them could look, and pull off a badass Misty. Like, just saying. I'm trying to think because I was going to do a cosplay, because I had some issues, like where I was going to do a cosplay on stream, but then I had, issues where I was moving out of the place and I just couldn't get into it. I can't think of what I'd be able to pull off, or like what I'd want to pull off. I can't. Where do you get an inspiration for a cosplay? Do you think, oh, I could do any character and we'll just do it? Or do you try to pick a specific character that you think will fit? Like, I just need to change the hair, makeup, clothes, and I can almost assimilate into the looking like this character. Like, how do you approach it?
Generally, I pick my characters based off of their character, like who they are as a person. Like, I usually fall in love with who they are, what they've been through, just how bold they are. Example, I did Urza Scarlet from Fairy Tale from a while ago. I absolutely adore her. She's an incredible woman. She's so strong, and she's just a natural leader, and she's just a phenomenal human being in the anime. So that's why I picked her. She has, her body type is different than me. That's fine. Honestly, when you're cosplaying a character, I feel like people shouldn't really be concerned about whether or not they can pull someone off physically, because when you're cosplaying a character that you truly admire and love and adore for who they are, that's going to shine outward when you are that character. So, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what your body type is. If you really love and adore the character, you're going to put your all into portraying them how you think they should be portrayed.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it all, in my opinion.
Right. It's almost like you can take it's your own creative spin on the character. Like, this is what this character would look like if it was me. If I was insert X. Like,
Yep.
This is what Aerith would look like if Alex was Aerith. much bigger. But that's awesome. Ari, we're coming near the end of our podcast journey here. This has been so insightful and fun. We've been talking about doing this for a little while, and I'm glad you got through your exams. I'm glad you are succeeding in all things streaming and all, Ari worldwide. Come on. You're a phenomenon.
It's been such a pleasure. I really appreciate you having me here.
But
this is a lot of fun.
Oh, this really is. Podcasting is fun, but when podcasting with someone new and it goes well, that's really great. I've had some ones that just don't go well, and it's like, okay, bye.
Oh
okay.
No.
Yeah, off air I'll tell you one or two. It's fun. It's fun. It is, but every now and again it just doesn't click. You were wonderful. I appreciate your time. But before you go, for my, you're going to post this into your own realms, but for the M3 gang here, the premium boys, everyone in the M3 gang is a boy, man, woman, anything in between. You become a boy here. So tell them, the premium boys, where to find all of your stuff. Where do they go to find everything Ari? Promote yourself a bit.
Oh boy, I'm not used to doing that.
On the spot, go! I saved it for the end.
But you can find me streaming on Twitch so right now I'm doing it full time during the summer. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, I start at 3 p.m. CDT, and I usually end at around 10 p.m. CDT at night. So they are long streams, but it's always just appreciated whenever someone pops in. They're like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what's up? How's your day? How have you been?
Right.
I've missed you."
Now,
And
you can be nice, and I appreciate you being nice to my listeners, but let me just talk to them for 1 second. You little slime balls, you were gonna go to where Ari told you to go, and you were to give her money. All right, the same way. No, listen, you let me talk to them. I know how to talk to them, Ari. They only listen to violence. You don't get it. They're mean. You go there. You throw your money down. All right, and Ari's gonna take care of you. You tell them that M3 sent you. You hear me, M3 gang? I won't listen to these excuses. I'm sorry. You have to be rough with them. My fan base is a little stubborn. You got to kick them in the pants a bit. You should see on the main show. I have this big speech I give every week for the Patreon. It's like 5 minutes. It's very, very threatening.
That's so.
But no. So the Twitch stuff, the YouTube, I guess like the Twitter. What's your Twitter handle? If you'd like to share that.
It's Ari_is_here_. Most activity usually happens in our community Discord. There's a link on my Twitch page. We actually tonight we're having a movie night. We do movie nights once a week where we all just hang out and watch a movie, and then on Friday nights we all hang out off stream and play games together and just chat about life and stuff.
What are you watching?
We are watching The Princess Bride. A classic.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya.
He killed my father.
My father.
That's
died.
Oh, that one gets me too, because I'm a gigantic wrestling fan, and obviously Andre the Giant's in there, and it's just he was so. Do you want to hear a wholesome story?
Wholesome.
Do you want to hear a wholesome story? Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna end the podcast here. All right, thank you so much for being on. We're gonna end with a wholesome story from me to you, Ari. It's my gift. Andre the Giant, you can imagine, was this big kind of just scary guy. I'm sure you can imagine being in front of him was very intimidating. But when he finished like doing the Princess Bride, apparently like he would have these big parties and stuff, and every person who would come over, even if he had already shown them, he would walk up to people and be like hello, I can't really do a good Andre the Giant, but he's like, hello, welcome to my house. Like, may I show you my movie? And he would sit down, whoever he had over, and play the entire Princess Bride with them, kind of like sitting like a little kid looking at him, like, and at the end he'd be like, so did you like it? Like this big giant man, like a little kid asking them, did you like my movie?
Oh, that's so cute.
It's adorable, isn't it? Andre the Giant rule.
Oh.
Alrighty, Ari, thank you. You rule. And remember, M3 gang, no excuses. Lay your money down. I don't want to hear any gab from you guys. Ari's gang, you all rule and are beautiful and wholesome. And I'll see you guys in chat for another sub assault soon. Don't you worry. We'll be back.